right. All right. Let's try this for a third time. Maybe third time's the charm here. Hopefully it'll work. All right. I'm going to read y'all my latest Substack about the Supreme Court ruling. What did I do that for? Let's see. Right here. Share. Make sure I'm sharing. Yes, I am. Okay. Now, let's see. The trap that failed. How President Trump outmaneuvered the Uniparty and restored faith in the Constitution by Sammy the Squirrel. In the tumultuous landscape of American politics, conservatives like me have watched with growing alarm as the Democrats and their allies in the Uniparty have seemingly worked tirelessly to undermine the principles we hold dear: law, order, and fidelity to the Constitution. This story is about one such episode, a calculated plan to entrap President Trump into defying a legal ruling, all so they could smear him as a lawless dictator. But President Trump didn't take the bait. Instead, he played it smart, waited for the Supreme Court, and in doing so, not only foiled their scheme, but gave us hope that the America we love might just be within reach again. The Uniparty's cunning trap. From this conservative's perspective, it's clear the Uniparty had a plan. They wanted President Trump to ignore a judge's legal ruling, any ruling, so they could turn around and scream at the top of their lungs that he doesn't respect the law or the courts. This wasn't some off-the-cuff political jab. It was a deliberate strategy to delegitimize his presidency. They knew President Trump's brash, take no prisoner style could be twisted against him if they could provoke him enough into defying a court order. I got those two words flipped. They'd have their smoking gun. See, he's a dictator, they'd cry, rallying their base and swaying the undecided. The trap was set with precision. They banked on President Trump acting impulsively, giving them the ammunition to paint him as a threat to democracy. It was a narrative tailor-made for their propaganda machine, the mainstream media, to amplify. President Trump saw right through it, weaponizing justice against the people's will. What makes this scheme even more galling is how they weaponized the Justice Department to pull it off. The DOJ, meant to be a neutral enforcer of the law, was turned into a political battering ram aimed at stopping what the majority of Americans voted for in 2016 and then again in 24. President Trump's agenda. From where I stand, this wasn't just an attack on one man. It was an assault on the democratic will of we, the people. The Justice Department became a tool of the Uniparty bent on obstructing President Trump at every turn. Investigations, legal hurdles, you name it, they threw everything they had at him to try and bog him down. It's the kind of overreach that erodes trust in our institutions and makes you wonder if the rule of law is just a slogan for those empowered to twist as they please. Trump's masterstroke, following the law. Here's where I'm genuinely glad President Trump didn't fall for it. Instead of storming ahead and giving the Uniparty what they wanted, he followed the rulings and waited for the Supreme Court to weigh in. That took guts and patience, qualities his critics don't often credit him with. By doing so, he denied them their prize. No headlines of Trump defies courts. No footage of pundits clutching their pearls on CNN calling him a dictator. Just a president respecting the legal process. That's all, folks. Nothing to see here. Move along. I can't overstate how satisfying that was to watch. The Uniparty and their mainstream media cheerleaders were left empty-handed. Their carefully laid trap sprung with nothing to show for it. President Trump proved he's not the reckless tyrant they wanted him to be. He showed that he values the Constitution over political expediency. And that's a win for every conservative who believes in the rule of law. SCOTUS stands tall, a constitutional victory. When the Supreme Court finally ruled, it was a moment of vindication. They stood on the side of the Constitution, upholding the principles that make this country great. For me, and I suspect for millions of others, it was a shot in the arm, a sign that the judiciary isn't just another pawn in the Uniparty's game. This wasn't just about President Trump. It was about reaffirming that our system can still work as it was meant to, protecting the rights and will of we, the people. Now that we know where SCOTUS stands, I have more faith than ever that we, the people, can reclaim the America we once loved with all our hearts. The Uniparty's nightmare, the one they've been orchestrating with their schemes and spin, might finally be coming to an end. This ruling wasn't just a legal win, it was a beacon of hope that justice can still prevail. The mainstream media's desperate spin. Of course, the mainstream media couldn't let this go without a fight. True to form, they've already started their spin. This is Trump's SCOTUS, they sneer, implying the ruling only happened because he stacked the court with his appointees. It's a cheap shot designed to belittle the highest court in the land and cast doubt on its legitimacy. They want you to believe the justices are just Trump's puppets, not independent minds interpreting the Constitution. It's nonsense, we all know, but it's predictable. The mainstream media can't stand that their narrative crumbled, so they're scrambling to undermine the victory by framing it as Trump's court. They're not just attacking him, they're insulting the integrity of the Supreme Court itself. It's a desperate move and one that only deepens my distrust in their so-called journalism. A new dawn for America. In the end, this whole saga proves why the rule of law in the Constitution matters. I'm glad President Trump didn't take the bait, waited for SCOTUS, and showed the world he respects our system. The Uniparty wanted chaos. He gave them order. They wanted a dictator. He gave them a constitutionalist. And now, with the Supreme Court standing firm, I feel a renewed hope that we can put this Uniparty-created nightmare behind us. The America we love, the one built on law, liberty, and the will of the people, isn't gone. It's still here, waiting for us to fight for it. President Trump outmaneuvered the trap, and with SCOTUS on the side of the Constitution, we've got a real shot at taking back our great country. That's a story worth telling and a future worth believing in. Okay. So what y'all think? It was pretty quick. I've been waiting on this ruling to write about it. You know, I was expecting it to be released yesterday, or at least that's what I thought it was supposed to be done, was released yesterday. But like I said, I went to bed last night at about 8:30 or so, or 8 o'clock. It stormed, and it still hadn't come through. And then about 2 o'clock in the morning, it came a real bad storm through here and woke me up. And I just decided to just stay up and wrote another quick Substack, put it out, and then was up all day, and then did my daily chores. Come back home. I get home about 8 o'clock in the morning and still nothing from the SCOTUS. So, I'm tired, and I get in the recliner and take a nap, and I get up at around 12:30, right where President Trump is giving his speech about the ruling from the SCOTUS, and I run to the internet, and wow, there it is. There's the ruling from SCOTUS. So I said, okay, I need to go ahead and write this, and now that I know where the SCOTUS stands, it's going to stand on the side of the Constitution. I was very concerned that the SCOTUS had been compromised. I mean, I think a lot of us were very concerned that this and are still concerned that the SCOTUS is compromised, that they probably only got one wild card left in their hand to play, and they're saving it for a special occasion, because it'll be the last one they ever play. It'll probably destroy one or two members of the Supreme Court when they play that card. But then it'll probably be a corruption card, So I'm just glad that the SCOTUS ruled correctly. And now the next big one to come that's going to come out is the birthright citizenship one, and hopefully that one's going to come out the correct way it was meant to be. And that was, I've written about the 14th Amendment. It was written so that Democrats couldn't keep the children of slaves as their own personal property. After the Emancipation Proclamation, and the Republicans freed the Democratic slaves from the Democrats. When the Republicans freed the black African slaves from the white Democrat owners, the white Democrat owners tried to claim the children of the slaves as their personal property because they weren't actually working at the time. They were just playing, and they were feeding and housing them, So that's why they had to pass this 14th Amendment, to keep the white elite Democrats from stealing the newly freed black slaves of theirs children away from them. Not so that you can just run to America, have a baby, and all of a sudden it's a U.S. citizen, then go back to your country and have that child enjoy every constitutional right and protections under the Bill of Rights that every American enjoys. No, it's not. That's not the way it was written. That's the way the Democrats abused it. It's a way of them getting back for Republicans taking their slaves away. And now they're trying to replace their black slaves with their new brown slaves. I'll be glad when people finally wake up to the Democrat Party and just how I don't understand how black people can actually be a member of a Democrat Party. It's just how racist and hate-filled the Democrat Party is amazing. And it's just so hard to understand sometimes. But I'm going to end this here. We're working on 13 minutes. Well, we're a little more than 13 minutes now, so that's okay. Anyways, y'all have a great and blessed day. Thank you to my paid subscribers. And have a great and blessed day, y'all. See ya.